She's been the pre and post game host there for many years. Started working with them in 2000. Currently, she's in San Francisco getting ready for the D-backs. Jody Jackson joins us now. Jody, you've had, 12 hours to kind of take this in from what you witnessed last night. And how are you feeling now? I mean, any better today than maybe yesterday?
Well, not really, I guess is the answer.
Yeah.
It's very tough. It's very tough. I've kind of talked about it now a few times, personally and on the air with, various doing interviews. And so it kind of like makes you a little bit more able to talk about it and not choke up and everything. I would say last night when everything kind of came out and the end of the game, and I wasn't able to see it in real time here, but then as I watched it late into the night, the recording of it, or I should say the stream of it, I guess, it really hit me hard. And, it's a lot of years, a lot of great people. It'll never be the same. I mean, the people will go on, hopefully, and try to find work in other avenues. Some will go to Utah, some will not. But just the special times that we shared, I mean, you never take it for granted going into work in a place where you have a great time every day. You love the people that are around you. I'm blessed that I can still do that here with the D-backs. And, I've worked with every team over the years, but still with, whether it's in radio or with the Cardinals, and just, it's a blessing. And, when you get it kind of ripped away from you, you realize that even more, and you're so thankful for it. And so while I'm grateful for all the years, it is sad. I think my colleague Todd Walsh, he said everything so eloquently last night. I can't even begin to reiterate all of that. I'm sure you guys could check it out on social media and all of your listeners. But one thing that he said earlier today was, that the sentiment around the arena last night was that it didn't have to happen. And that's where it really is a little gut-wrenching because, it probably shouldn't have happened. But, now the focus is maybe on getting the team back at some point. I think right now I just feel immediately for the people that their entire livelihood was the Coyotes. So it's just very tough all around. It's hard to explain. I could talk for an hour on it, but I am thankful for all the special people that I met, both the fans, families whose kids, I really look back, and even families who lost a family member and the Coyotes were that link for them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously we're never going to forget those people, but they don't have the game to go to kind of immerse themselves in that love and that, people that surrounded them in the most difficult time of their lives. And I'm talking about Leighton Accardo. I'm talking about a couple of other people through the years that we've lost, and their memory will never be forgotten. We'll always preserve that, but they don't have that connection of the Coyotes community to share in that anymore.
Jody Jackson here on Rocket News with Jimmy B. Jody, I was similar to you. I didn't see it live. I saw it maybe a half hour after and started watching, but I went from really emotional. I'm kind of a guy that cries all the time. I'm that guy, Rudy, I cried. But then
I can relate.
But then it turned into anger. Have you had any of that? Because of what you just said, it didn't need to happen.
Yeah, I mean, for sure, it is a little bit of anger. I'd be lying if there wasn't, but I guess anger sometimes is a wasted energy type of feeling, and, got to get past that. And, again, like that's where it comes in of, did this have to happen? Did it have to come to this in a town that's still growing? It's a large market. There's a lot of reasons why. And, to be honest, as much as Mullet Arena was a cool atmosphere, there were fans that now couldn't come to the games. So
yeah.
Even that is like building back. I mean, a lot of those people still love the team, and maybe they came to a few games, but I mean, that arena was too big at 19,000. Mullet was too small. You need something in the middle. You need something sustainable. You need people that are going to, there's a lot of it too. I'm not a business person. It's not my forte, but I know that it seems like it could be sustainable for sure without, having to absorb losses. And I understand for many years this team was absorbing a lot of losses and financial strife. And I that's not easy. The NHL has to take it over. I am thankful for Gary Bettman for sticking with this for so many years and even taking the team over for a bit, paying the bills for them.
Mm-hmm.
He's not at fault here, I don't think. You can go back to the beginning and point fingers at a ton of people, and go back to the very beginning with Los Arcos and say it should have been there, and that would have been seems to be the best half. But all of that does make you angry for sure. But there's nothing that can be done now except focus energies toward bringing another team back.
So, Jody, I really enjoyed your photography, your chronological order of your years, and all those great photos you had on Twitter. I thought it was great. But when you look back, you're looking back at some of the highs and the lows, obviously. But for you, as far as broadcast with the guys on the ice, the highs, the 2011, 2012, going for the Western Conference title, et cetera, et cetera. What were some of the moments, aside from those sentimental moments you had, that you really will cherish and take forward? And hopefully 5 years from now, you can continue on with the new Coyotes franchise.
Yeah, it was those whiteouts. It was watching Shane Doan lead this team. It was the teams that did in 11 and 12, in 12 get pretty close to making something special happen. Even under Rick Tocchet, the team did well in the bubble that year in 2020. I mean, there were some really cool moments on the ice. And for me, though, what's interesting, I do want to say this because I've heard some people say, and there are people that aren't extremely close to the team, that, oh, well, there wasn't much on ice to cheer for. Look, fandom is fandom. It's not really about the moments on the ice. I mean, yes, you can jump on the bandwagon, and those are cool memories. And let's face it, that does draw people in. But it is about, there's so much more to it. And Coyotes fans are the most loyal and the most, even though it might be a smaller group, I think the most community oriented in the way that they all rely, it's a smaller group, so they all rely on each other, and they all, so it's not about, you don't need to win a Stanley Cup. It would have been great, of course, but that doesn't diminish the fact that, this team was special. The players here were special. The coaches through the years. Andre Cherney did an unbelievable job with this team. And I wonder what would have happened if that rumor didn't come out on January 24th. I was in Florida on that road trip when that came out, and I heard staff kind of half joking about, well, what happened, Utah, this and that. And for me, it was kind of like, well, okay, it's more about Utah than us. But apparently I was wrong. Clearly, I was very, very wrong. And it hit the players hard. I mean, Andre Cherney directly related that 14-game losing streak to that. But there's, even this team, Josh Doan joining this team, I'm so happy that happened this year. And even though it won't be able to continue, I wish him all the best in Salt Lake. All these guys, Clayton Keller, Lawson Krause, on and on down the line. Just an unbelievable group of guys.
Jody Jackson is our guest on the Right Toyota guest line. Jody, how will it be a gut punch if indeed when this team starts to skate in Salt Lake City, and you have been covering these younger players and seen how they have developed? Are they on the edge right now of breaking through to get in to the playoffs?
Yeah, I think they are. They really are. And I think that, they're going to have to get through new emotions of being in the new place. But the talent is ridiculous, really. Bill Armstrong's done a fantastic job. Dylan Gunther, Logan Cooley, other guys that he's brought through. There's going to be more coming. It is. That hurts. But to me, again, I saw someone post, you're not a traitor if you root for them. No, of course not. Of course not. We root for the people. We root for the talent. It does hurt, but it's, it's funny that these guys are really young. You never know what could happen. Maybe they make their way back. That would be wild if like a Josh Doan makes his way back on the expansion team.
Yeah.
Or whatever it would be called, an expansion. I don't know. But it's tough. I think they can make some noise for sure. I don't really know the ins and outs of who's staying, who's going. I certainly the management group has not done anything to, Bill Armstrong and Andre Cherney. It depends on who you ask. I don't know if people outside see what they've done, but I think they've done a hell of a job. They haven't made the playoffs, but they've also done it under some extremely difficult circumstances. So I think if they kept this group together for the most part and added some pieces, they would be in real good shape.
Jody, thank you. Especially, we know you're on the road there. Your weather's probably a little bit better than ours, as it's 90-something already. So 6:45 tonight, first pitch. This is going to be an interesting series, don't you think?
Oh, for sure. I'm excited to see these guys. I think it's been tough with all these extra inning games and close games, and I think they need to tighten it up, though. They haven't played their best ball, so they've got to get that going. They got a tough challenge tonight with Logan Webb, and then tomorrow, though, it'll be Jordan Montgomery and Blake Snell. But I think they just need to do the little things better, That's it. And it is a little cooler here. We've got the breeze. It's the pitcher's park. So we'll see what happens, you guys. I hope they can get to that point where they're really playing up to their full capabilities.
We'll be watching 6:45. Thank you, Jody. Appreciate you. Thank you so much for the time.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate you guys. Thanks so much.
Jody Jackson joining us, catcher tonight at Diamondbacks and the Giants, 6:45. Yeah, man. It's
you could tell it was tough for her.
Yeah, you can.
Tell.
And watching a lot of that, it was like a funeral.
Sure was. Yeah.
It really felt that way, and I think it does today. And the more people I've talked to, there's a lot of emotion. People that you didn't even think really cared. I have an HR person I know really well. She's a season ticket holder, been going for years. She goes every game, doesn't miss a game.
Yep.
She's probably bawling her eyes out right now.
Yeah,
and because it means so much to her and her husband to go to the game every single night.
And those fans did not want to leave last night.
No, they hung around.
And congrats to those players that hung around, signing autographs, doing whatever it took. They finally had to say, "Hey guys, we're gonna turn the lights off. We got to go home."
Yeah.
But I commend the Yotes for number one, winning that game, coming out, winning that game.
That didn't matter.
And I know it didn't rock, but they could have been sulking and oh God, we're leaving and moving. Showed the integrity and class of that organization. That put those players to come out and win that game with that enthusiasm.
But for players, it's like getting traded.
Yeah.
It doesn't affect them as much.
Right.
Yeah, but still, you're like, we got to move. There's a lot that goes
what if, Doan was going to get traded or so-and-so was going to be lost in Krause? I mean, you could have got traded at the end of the year.
But you're out of your comfort zone. You're going away. You love where you're at, and the entire not you, the entire team is moving on to another city.
Yeah, but that's professional sports. It really is.
You know what you get. You know what you're into.
Yeah. I mean, it's like broadcasting. Like when I began in this business, the only way you could increase your salary was to move city to city.
Bigger markets.
Yes, bigger markets, bigger offer. Now, this is not that particular case, obviously, but it is similar from the standpoint that these guys will adapt, and they will they'll adapt easily. Yes, they will.
It's more the front office.
Yes.
People that, the 100+ whoever that they have. That's what I'm concerned about. Jody, today is brought to you by the CAZ Sportsbook in Casino, Arizona. Typically, we have our headlines at this time, but you can bet the game, watch the game at the Sportsbook in Casino, Arizona. They got 3 live betting windows, 6 self-service betting kiosks, plus screens, 8 of them that display all the betting lines. So check it out for yourself, the CAZ Sportsbook. Well, we got to try to get out of